Alright, we're on. Let's do it. Welcome to Timeless Personal Growth and Development. We're doing a child development video today. I haven't done that in a while. And we're talking about raising boys. This will tie into a little bit of my Alpha Dad Mindset playlist. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out on my channel, on my playlist. Well, we're talking about raising boys with compassion and strength. Teaching them to be tough and strong, but teaching them to be compassionate at the same time. Well, my inspiration for this video, was a few weeks ago. I was hanging out with a buddy of mine. Hanging out, having lunch together, and the topic came up of toxic masculinity. He's all for it. I am not. I think it's nonsense. And basically my friend was telling me that toxic masculinity is basically typical male traits that are driven to the extreme, that become toxic, that become unfavorable, become problematic to that person and to other people around them. Qualities like aggressiveness, like strength, assertiveness, dominance. When all that is pushed a little too far, in that respect, yes, I agree that it can be absolutely toxic. But I told my friend that there was this movie. I'm sure this movie we watched when I was a kid. I watched it. Mighty Ducks, the second one. Well, it's that scene where Gordon Bombay is meeting all his new ducks that he's recruited around the United States. So he's meeting them all. And the last duck they introduce is his name escapes me, but it's one of the Bash Brothers. And he's introducing himself to his other teammates, and he's bullying them and pushing it around, being aggressive, being a tough guy. And then Gordon Bombay turns to his sponsor and like, you know what, I don't want him on my team. You know, my kids don't play that kind of hockey. And his sponsor looks at him like, well, Gordon, when you're going up against a bigger, tougher team like Iceland, you're going to want a guy like him. Yes, he may be a bully, but his bully traits are going to be very useful in certain situations, and you can apply that to toxic masculinity. Those certain traits are only toxic in the right context, in the right environment. And that goes into our culture around raising our boys, that we don't want to teach our boys to be tough and strong and dominant and being strong leaders, because that's toxic. No, it's not. It's toxic based on the right environment. And if that trait is getting pushed too far, then yes, 100%, it's toxic. But toxicity isn't, it's not exclusive to gender. Anyone could be toxic, man or woman. So saying that masculinity is toxic is a bunch of nonsense. And people will label someone as toxically masculine is because those traits aren't favoring them, aren't serving them. Such as leadership, for example. Well, when you're in a situation, you're in a survival situation, yes, you're going to need strong leadership skills. You're going to need someone to help you out and rescue you, and for all the men in the tribe to step up and be aggressive against another tribe. If sometimes it means to be violent, then go ahead and be violent. There's actually nothing wrong with teaching your kids to be violent. It's just based on how you're doing it. If you're teaching kids martial arts and self-defense, no, that's absolutely necessary, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with learning structured, disciplined violence or self-defense. But even the term, I say violence, it sounds toxic. It sounds negative. But if I switch the word around and say self-defense, that sounds better. That sounds more positive. That sounds less toxic. You know, in our culture now, we want to teach our boys to be soft, to be compassionate, to be sensitive, blah, blah, blah. You've heard all that, right? We want them to be more in touch with their feminine side, and be more compassionate. Nothing wrong with compassion. You want your boys to be compassionate 100%. Yes. But young boys need to look up to someone and need to aspire to be someone and need a male role model. And there is no male role model for boys. Boys don't look up to someone who's soft and sensitive and cries a lot and is very feminine and wears his heart on his sleeve. Those aren't aspiring traits for young boys. Look at yourself when you were a young man. All the men watching this right now. When you were a young man, when you watched TV, when you were a little boy, who are the people on TV you aspired to be and you looked up to and you thought, man, those guys are awesome. I want to grow up to be like that. It was Batman, Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, Luke Skywalker, sometimes even Darth Vader, Indiana Jones. These very strong, masculine, assertive, dominant men. There is nothing toxic about them. Nothing. Maybe Darth Vader, maybe. But is Darth Vader a masculine character? Absolutely. He may be the villain in the story, in Star Wars. He may be, but he's a very masculine character. You look at Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry. Is he a masculine character? Are those traits that he shows toxic? Yes, in the right context. But that's what boys look up to. Boys will not look up to a man who is sensitive, who cries a lot, who is overly feminine. We look at that as being pathetic. We don't look up and aspire to be someone like that. No boy wants to be like that. So there's a counterbalance. There's a balance between teaching boys to be strong and compassionate. But if we go too far to one side, it's going to be problematic. If you go too far with being aggressive and dominant and assertive all the time, especially in the wrong context, no, that's not going to work. When I come home at the end of the day and I'm with my girlfriend, is that a time to be strong and dominant and aggressive? No, it's a time to calm down and be relaxed and be calm. It's not the time for that. When I go train jiu-jitsu, I'm going to work, I'm in an environment where I need to step up, I need to be a little more aggressive. Yeah, it's the time to bring out those qualities, but those qualities are beneficial based on the situation that you're in. And if you go too far to one side and make too compassionate and too soft, too sensitive, you're going to run into a lot of problems. Yeah, and people are going to say like, oh, that's so admirable that guy can wear his heart on his sleeve and talk about his feelings, but if you do too much of that, you lose value as a man. And growing up as a boy, evolving into a man, boys need to understand that. There's a time and a place to be sensitive, to wear your heart on your sleeve. It's all contextual. It's all based on the situation that you're in, and you need to remember that. And the most important thing you need to remember, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. And on that note, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Do me a big favor, like and comment, and I'll see you all in the next video at the end of the week. Have a good one.